this is the end of the road for our vintage build series. The entex 1959 Mercedes-Benz 300 SL is done. And I gotta tell you guys, this was a really interesting and fun build. It was really fun revisiting how models were made back in the old days, as this kit is pretty much a throwback to the 1960s, I think, if I remember correctly from our Scalemates lookup when we first started this series. So I wanted to see what it was like to build cars the way they did back then, and what exactly they would have had to go through to make a really nice looking model. And while I admit I started off just wanting to build it right out of the box, I did get a little carried away and decided to, as usual, just up detail it a little bit. And I'm really happy with the result. While it's not perfect, because as you guys know if you've watched this series, I did have a few ups and downs, mostly my own fault. But there were some issues with the paint, and then there were some parts of the body that I just wasn't happy with the way they went together, so I made some modifications there, and the overall result is actually pretty cool. This was definitely a build where the journey was more important to me than the finished product, because I really just wanted to get the feel of what it was like to build a model, you know, like they did back in the 60s. You know, it is a bit before my time, but I wanted to just experience what they did, and I'm glad that I did. Was it a little bit challenging? Yes, it was. To get certain things to come out the way I wanted to, it was a little challenging, but like I said before, I'm really happy with the result. There's plenty of details to go around in this thing, some of which I added, some of which I just highlighted what was already there. And now let me talk a little bit about the model itself. While it is a pretty nice representation of a Mercedes 300 SL, it's not exactly 100% accurate. Now that's to be expected considering the vintage nature of this kit, but some of the proportions are a little bit off. And seeing as how this was also sold as a motorized toy, probably with one of those spring-loaded motors and driving the rear wheels, the rear tires sit a little bit, I want to say they don't sit exactly the way I would have liked them to, and that's just from the way the kit is made. I was going to try and alter the way the rear tires sat, but that would have involved making a lot more modifications to this than I really felt like doing. So I just finished it off as is, and it does sit pretty well, but I would probably have lowered the rear just a hair more than what the kit was built for. But that would have required modifying the wheel wells and everything on the inside. I'd already done enough modifications for this kit. I decided I wanted to see it sit the way it was intended to. And overall, it is pretty nice. So why don't we take a look at some of the details that I got done. Okay guys, now we're going to take a quick look at the details. We're going to start with the interior. So I really wanted to show you guys, I was really happy with this interior. While this is a curbside model and there's not really much in the way of detailing to go under the skin of the car, the interior did have a really nice amount of detail that you could add to it. Now, if you followed the build, you know that the gauges are from a Jaguar. Everything else was airbrushed. The chrome trim on the dash is done with the bare metal foil. The clock on the dash also from the Jaguar kit. I fabricated the aluminum trim ring around the shifter and the handbrake based on information that I found online that's the way those things were. We have racing white from Tamiya for the steering wheel with monotile chrome in the horn ring and center button of the steering wheel. Now I use the exact same technique that I used on the body to make the Mercedes-Benz emblem on the steering wheel stand out using the bare metal foil. I also created the door pull and added resin window cranks. And then my favorite, or one of my favorite parts of the interior, let me see if I can give you guys a little light there, is the foot pedals. Let's see if we can focus it on that. Let's focus it on that and give you a really good look at that. The foot, brake, and gas, the brake pedal, the gas pedal, and the clutch pedal. I was really happy with the way those turned out. And the interior, for what it is, really didn't turn out too badly. I was really happy with it. Now, the body, as I stated before, the proportions are a little off, but overall it presents nicely. Now, all the light fixtures on the body, you know that those are all wrapped in bare metal foil. That's not painted chrome, that's actually bare metal foil wrapped around the light fixture. And that actually came out really nicely. It was a new technique. I wanted to play with it and see how it would come out, and I'm very pleased with that. Right along with the bare metal foil technique for making the badges, and the Revell chrome for the rear bumper, which this is where I found out exactly how durable Revell chrome is. And yeah, you can dull it out if you touch it a little too much, even after you've given it quite a few weeks to dry. Now, one of the things that I really liked about this kit were the wheels and tires. I mean, they were really nicely detailed. The tires actually look period correct for the car, and I'm just really kind of pleased with the way the whole wheel and tire combo looks. And after adding all the detail painting on it, it kind of just really pops nicely. So I've got to give them credit on this kit. With the limited technology of the time, they really did have a nice representation of the Mercedes 300 SL. Now let's take a look at the front end. And if you look at the front end here, you see I did the same thing on the front light fixtures. They are all wrapped in bare metal foil, while the bumper and the grille are done with Revell chrome. Now on the light fixtures, I also added lenses. I don't know if you can make them out there, but there are actual lenses on the light fixture there. That's done with my GS Hypo cement, a very clear cement, and when it dries, it gave us a really good appearance of the headlight glass lenses. All right. Okay, so now let's take a look at the undercarriage. Now the undercarriage, again, not a lot of detailing going on there. All I did was paint and highlight what was there. Didn't spend a lot of time here because, like I said, there was really not much to work with down here. Although at some point I might add an exhaust system to it. I haven't decided yet. The biggest change I made to the undercarriage was to cut off the forward edge here of the body that was attached to the chassis, and then bond that to the body itself to make it all one part. Now there was quite a bit of fitting and quite a bit of using some styrene sheets that I had to fill in all of the gaps, as there were a lot of them here. So managed to get that to smooth out. Took quite a bit of work, but I'm really happy with the way that turned out, as the body is now one complete part and the chassis just kind of slots into it. So there we go, guys. The end of a really interesting build and a trip back in time. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, now mind you, my scale from 1 to 10 on this particular build, it's going to be a little bit different compared to the way I usually rate a model, as this is going to be rated based on the time that it was produced. I can't really compare it to a modern kit because it really isn't, and there are quite a few limitations to it because of that. And that's just something that we have to take into account, because we know that the kit is something that was produced many years ago with the technology that they had on hand at the time. So while it really represents nicely, and it'll make a really nice shelf model. Don't know if show quality would be something that I would consider this build, but I'm really happy with it, and I think that it shows really nicely. So I am grading it on a curve that it's a 1960s tooled kit, and it really hasn't changed much since then. And even this version here that I have, I think, is from the 1980s, if I remember right. So we're looking at it with that in mind, and with that in mind, I'm going to give it a vintage score of probably about 7, which actually, you know what, I'm going to revise that a little bit. I'm going to give that an 8.1 on the vintage scale. And because it really was a fun build, it really was interesting to take this journey back in time and see how modelers used to build, before we had all of our precision engineered models with all of our specialty tools and everything that we use now today, and on a model that wasn't super highly detailed, and which really just created a fun project. If you guys get a chance, I would recommend that everybody just do a little vintage build here and there. Find yourself an old kit and just try and see what you can do with it, and you might find that you create some really nice stuff from some of these old kits. Because I know a lot of times we tend to look down on these older kits because they are old, because they're not as highly detailed, and I think that's the wrong approach for us to have. I think we should actually look back and enjoy what came before. Try it and see how well we could do with something like this. Again, mine is far from perfect. I did have quite a few issues while I was building it, and like I said, some of them were my own fault. But it was a really, really fun project. And yeah, I think I can do an 8.1 is going to be my final score for this. Vintage score. So that's it, guys. That's going to be the end of it for this build. I think I've rambled on enough about it. I just really enjoyed building this. I really enjoyed the final result. That's all I really have to say about it. So, guys, if you can get your hands on the entex Mercedes 1959 SL 300 SL, I would say grab it and try it. I mean, I'm sure that there's plenty of guys out there who could do wonders with this kit. So, that's it. We're closing this one out, and I guess I will see you guys on the next one.